Probably could scoot down. Low ceilings. All right, let's see if this is a little bit better. So far, it seems good. So, for anybody joining, I'm Sam. I run Sam's Mobile Sharpening out of Battleground, Washington. Just wanted to show off a few, well, sharpening a few knives. Not show off, I just want to sharpen a few knives, answer some questions that I've gotten pretty commonly on YouTube. So, yeah, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. Because it's just still so low. Something like that, I think. Let's adjust that ever so slightly because that feels off. Something like that better. Guy, and then really low angle wise right now, so we're gonna adjust that. Okay, knock that down. And I've already got water in the trough because I tried doing live, jumped off, and we're gonna just go right back to it. Yet. The other side. Just starting to feel a burr. So I'm going to go back to the other side. those of you in the chat, how's the video quality? Much better. Okay. Unclamp that. Get it off. Flip her around. For those of you joining, I'm Sam. I run Sam's Mobile Sharpening out of Battleground, Washington. I just wanted to mess around, do some sharpening on my Tormek, and also let you kind of see what my setup was, because a lot of the guys have shops and that kind of stuff. I've got my truck, so when it's raining, I like to sit under the canopy and do the sharpening there. And of course, my buddy decides he wants to call me right as I'm doing a live stream, so I'm gonna let that go to voicemail. I can call him back in a bit. Okay. Let's see what we're dealing with that. I just want to see what this does. A little bit right there. Oh no, not terrible, but let's touch that up a little bit more. This time. Much better. I like that. I like that. So for those of you that have just joined, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I can look at the screen. I've got camera on the screen. So if you've got any sharpening questions or just questions in general, feel free to ask. Put this guy on. That guy on. This one next. Once we get a few more people on. Sam, Maya from the Micro Workshop. You're not wrong. It definitely is the Micro Workshop. But hey, it has my tools and it allows me to do what I do. And also, in a little bit, I'm going to answer some questions I get pretty commonly asked on YouTube just in general. Hi from Morgan. Hi from Washington. What part of Oregon are you in? That's a little high for my liking. Drop that down just a hair. I'm from Carson City, Nevada. Well, Warren, I know you're in Carson City. Warren is a colleague of mine that I talk to. Probably him and Knife Guy Reno, I talk to almost every day. Cornelius. I used to go out that way a lot. I played airsoft back in high school, and then also I worked at Intel Ronler Acres, which not exactly Cornelius, but it semi in the area of that. But lots of good. I used to go. If you've been in there, Cornelius, for a while, did you ever see the shop Airsoft Outlet Northwest? This is like 10 plus years ago. Shop Airsoft Outlet Northwest. Is the video stream still decent, or is it still a little choppy? I'm trying to adjust that, but for some reason the connection is being weird. Council Crest. I don't know, I know Portland decently well, but don't know Council Crest. I have to, my uncle lives in downtown Portland, so I kind of understand that. Portland stream is good, but the audio is choppy. Interesting. Okay, so maybe let's try, well, I won't do that now, but I'll try doing my GoPro audio this next time. Right now I have it going through my earbuds. Excuse me. And that might be the problem, is connecting to multiple devices at once. Could be broken on my end. TV towers. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, okay. Well, I'd say Cornelius is definitely a better area than that for sure. So do you, 3 best forge. I'm assuming you forge knives. What kind of knives do you like doing? Or what kind of knives are your most popular that you're making, if you are doing that? Not yet? Okay. No worries. I thought forge. So if you gotta go, take care, Warren. And the beginner do knives. Yeah, no, knives are one of those things. I've done a few with buddies, but they can be a bit tricky. Do you, like, right now I'm assuming, like, you just mess around with forging and, like, little things and that kind of stuff, or is it, like, you've been, messing around with, like, trying to make knives and just seeing how it goes? Yeah, no, I definitely understand that one. I run a sharpening business out of Washington. Well, Battleground, Washington. Still not getting a bird. This one was really dull. My leg was starting to go numb. That's why I lifted it out. Just crosses, bottle openers, horseshoe. Oh, very cool. So I'm guessing primarily using like old horseshoes to make those kind of things, or what other kind of steels have you been messing around with? Like rebar? My buddy does forging in his off time. He loves doing like troll crosses, bottle openers. He made me a little like scorpion one a while ago. It's more or less it's diamond, but it's CBN. So I was debating between a diamond and a CBN wheel for a while, but went with the CBN because apparently it's a little bit more forgiving as far as like just the learning curve. So I wanted something that was like I didn't have to worry about being gentle with, so to speak. But I do also have the normal stone doing like serrated knives and that kind of stuff. And it's like the original grindstone that comes with the T4 and the T8 is still like it feels wonderful using. Still not quite there. I'm reprofiling this one a little bit too. I wanted to bump it down to 15 just to see what it does. 15 per side, that is. More or less, yeah. That's So Tormeks have been around. I didn't realize how long they've been around, but they've been around for a while. Typically, for, like chisels and that kind of stuff. But they've been getting really popular in the knife community. And honestly, it by far is my favorite system to use. Like, I love I've got several powered sharpeners, but these are absolutely my favorite. This is a I don't have a heater currently. It's like I've got a heated jacket if it's cold. It's currently like I think 50 degrees right now, so not terrible. But I have done sharpen. So last year I didn't have the canopy, so I did a sharpening and got my feet very cold, and I was very cold at the very end. I didn't have my leather boots on either. I just had like sneakers, so wasn't wonderful. And that was one of my first videos, if you haven't catched it. It's one of I sharpened in the snow, so I drove up past Amboy, and it was cold and snowy. It wasn't wet, it was cold and snowy, but Pacific Northwest is pretty bad about just cold and wet, which I'm guessing at least Bees Forge, 3B's Forge, you probably know that it's weird how works out here. You don't like it, it'll change in 10 minutes. And for anybody joining, hi, I'm Sam. I run Sam's Mobile Sharpening out of Battleground, Washington. I noticed we got a few more people on, so welcome. We're almost there. Is the audio still funky, or is it being a little bit better? Yeah, I don't blame you. The cold isn't like too bad, but when it's the wet, like right above 30, like 32 degrees, so when it's like in that 36 range and wet, that's just miserable. Those 2x2s interlocking foam tiles stand on those boxes. I'll have to find one of those and watch it. LOI. Back of those 2x2 interlocking foam tiles? Oh, yeah, no, that would be a really good idea. I didn't think about, like, kind of like the garage, if you want a garage floor. Yeah, the hum is actually from the machine. Let's open that and see if that helps. So the hum is the machine, so if I go like that, which we'll take a breather just for a quick minute. I've got actually a decent burst. I'll go back, but answering just a few questions just for giggles, and I've got a few that people have asked me that I'd like to answer as well. Okay. It's not quite, it was breaking through here, the sun at least, was about like half an hour-ish ago, but we're just now starting to get into a little sprinkling, so. Okay. Okay, and so one of the first questions I have gotten is, what's my favorite machine? And honestly, like, my T4 is by far my favorite machine. I I said that just a little while ago, but this is hands down my favorite machine. I love my buck tool and the Harbor Freight, but the T4 just feels right to use, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. And I'm guessing with the sprinkling, we'll also hear that on the roof. Let's go like that. Turn that back on. Answer another question here in a little bit. Get the bone chilling cold one. Oh wow. Well, hello to you in Canada. So I know you've commented on several of my videos. Yeah, the 1x30 belt sander. I have a lot of videos on my Harbor Freight 1x30. So I like using that occasionally, like if I'm doing chipper blades or something along those lines. But if I'm just doing normal, like everyday knives, even with some pretty decent damage, the buck tool is my go-to, and the T4 is like my special occasions if I'm just wanting to feel fun, so to speak. Okay, I think that's a good enough burn. We'll kill the sound for a little bit. Alright. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I know this is a new thing I'm trying out, seeing how I like it. So far, it seems pretty nice. I do have some technical issues as far as just like the audio not syncing up, so I hear what I hear like, but it's really weird. That looks... It really is. I mean, it's semi-quick, and the edge is wonderful off of the Tormeks, but as far as they, like, wanting to, like, just do knives very quickly, the buck tool and the Harbor Freight are very hard to compete against. The other thing that I'm starting to look into is a felt wheel for the Tormek, because I've been having really good luck with the felt on my buck tool, so I want to try it on the Tormek. Okay, and that actually links up to my next question. Is somebody asked me, hey, what do I think of the felt wheel versus the leather wheel? Because I tried out the leather wheel. They both have their places. I think the leather is really good for like refining, but I feel like the felt is much better at removing a burr. Yeah, I'm noticing that with the video and the audio, as I can see myself talking back to me, and it's throwing me off a little bit, but I'm trying to make the best of it. Raise that leg up. Wet grit stone. And also, so for you curious what I'm using, and I know I talked about it a little bit earlier, this is a CBN stone, and it's a 600 grit CBN stone. It's from Woodturner's Wonders, and I really do like it. I do use the original grindstone, but this, it doesn't change diameters. It's very easy to use, and it's very consistent. That's a big reason why I like the CBN, but every once in a while, like I said, the original grindstone comes out doing like serrateds and that kind of stuff. Okay. So next question is, if I had to choose one tool, would it be the buck tool or the Tormek or the Harbor Freight, or like even more so, if I had to choose between the buck tool and the Harbor Freight, which is more convenient? For me personally, I think the buck tool is more convenient because it allows me to do the sharpening and then the stropping on the same machine. The Harbor Freight isn't bad, but it's a little bit faster, and you have to get the leather belts or a like felt belt or something along those lines, which I thought just having the felt wheel or the leather wheel in some cases would just be easier, and so far it has been. Okay. Okay. We'll just chill out for a bit too. I've got one more question, but at the same time, I want to see if you guys have any questions just in the chat. So if you've got anything you want to ask or are curious about, feel free. It's kind of nice too. I did thin this down to 15, so it's a little bit steeper. More cute. But I'm liking the grind of it, considering all. Yeah, like, this is one of my guilty pleasure machines if I'm using it. Let's flip you around so we're ready for honing. I do want to get like a rotating base or something like that for this. Okay. What's your split between homeowner, sanding, commercial, restaurant, sharpening clients? Ooh, it honestly depends week to week. I mean, my good majority is homeowners just because, like, when I run Facebook ads and that kind of stuff, so I reach more homeowners. But at the same time, like, going out to businesses, it can get restaurants. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But my guess would be split of every restaurant / commercial client, I get 2 or 3 residential clients. Does that answer your question? And I do all the sharpening in the back of, well, not the back of my truck always, but like off the tailgate or something along those lines. The Tormek had a reverse switch. Rotating the base wouldn't be true, but the only thing I would worry about with the reverse switch is it burning out the motor a little bit because it's not a brushless motor, so it's spinning the other way might cause excess wear. I would think, I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I agree. I feel like if the Tormek had some way of reversing it or something along those lines, that would be like a very best case scenario. a hair of a burr still, but let's go. My favorite tool, the brush. So the brush just knocks off any residual burr if there still is something. I learned this from scissor sharpening so that you don't overstrop something. And it translated to knives actually really well. That on paper and see what that does. Turn that off. Nope, it's still got a little bit of a burn. I thought so. I thought it felt like it. And that's the reason why, like, I always test on paper. It's not so much to see, okay, how well it cuts or how... It's more of, okay, is there a little bit of burr or something like that? Sometimes it can feel a little bit sharp to the finger, but be like a false sharp. So I just cut the paper as more of a reference. Practicing with my new T8, still trying to fake. Yeah, no, it's definitely a learning curve figuring out how to do, like, the lifting when, instead of, like, trying to rotate backwards. But, yeah, so, it should, I mean, you should be able to get it pretty quickly, and or you'll correct yourself pretty often and go, oh, no, this is not what I want to do, this is what I want to do. Still towards the rear. Hair clipper sharpenings. Yeah, so clipper blade, I'll turn this off a little bit. So clipper blades are one I want to get into, but like you were saying, it's it's quite spendy to get into, but, and also the learning curve, because I have several other colleagues, Honed by Jones and a few other guys that I've talked to, that it's quite a learning curve for doing clipper blades. Which, would it be good for getting like barbers and like dog groomers? Absolutely. But at the same, like, it's kind of a 50-50, because could it be great? Yes. Or could it just be an absolute nightmare? Also, yes. That's a little bit better. Spray it down with a little ISO just for giggles. For some reason it's wanting to hold on to the burr a little bit more than typical. Well, I mean, I did reprofile it a little bit, so we'll see. Oh, we're starting to get some rain now. Let's try that. Nope, still towards the rear a little bit and just ever so slightly catching in the middle. Yeah, so we're gonna keep going with that. Let's hit the brush again. And this is one of my own personal knives. It's not a client's knife. So I just want to experiment a little bit with it and see, like, if I like the edge a little bit better or not. So I thinned it out a little bit as well as changed the angle. So we're gonna see if I like it or not, and that'll just be testing. But I like to test on my personal knives and not customers' knives. Oh wow, we're really getting rain. this is also the reason why I want to do a felt wheel on this side, because removing the root of the burr is, felt is really good with doing that. Let's try giving her a cut and see if she does anything or not, because more than likely it's still not. Towards that rear, I might actually go back to diving, because for some reason it is just still wanting to catch ever so slightly back there. And this is also part of the reason why I test everything, is just to make sure that, hey, everything is all good and I don't need to go back. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Yeah, the rain with ice can be interesting. I mean, it's warm enough right now that it's not. What are your thoughts and... What's your thought to get that good kick up or tilt? Well, I'll show you just for giggles. Because I'm not liking how it's catching right there. So I'm going to go right back and just redo it. Okay. Set that right there. So I like to do the plunge down. Tormek will recommend starting like that, but I like to start with the tip. When I start getting to the round, it starts like lifting my arm. If that makes sense. As like your natural reaction is just wanting to pull towards you. That's also a scared reaction, so to speak. So your body, if your body is naturally fearful, you pull and like close to your body. You'll want to keep things close to your core so that you can keep your core protected. But yeah, so it definitely takes a while to learn how to overcome that pull back and more lift up, if that makes sense. Yes. Yeah, I can try doing it with the heel, but for some reason, doing it the tip first feels a lot smoother, if that makes sense. Definitely feel so there's a little bit of burr in the center, more burr towards the rear, but I think we're close now. Ooh, that's a good point. Thank you, Warren. That's a really, really good point. Yeah, Honed by Jones is one of my colleagues. I talk to him almost daily. And he has a T8 that he likes to sharpen on. So he also has some good insight too of how to overcome the tip being a pain or anything along those lines. That burr definitely feels more pronounced, except for at the very back. Let's hit that a little bit. Okay. Yeah, if you haven't followed him, Chris, Honed by Jones on YouTube. Wonderful resource, wonderful dude. I highly recommend his channel. I would go check him out if you haven't subscribed to him yet. Also, with the doing like tip plowing, I feel like I get a better tip than if I was to start at the heel and go towards the tip. I mean, it's more a comfort thing. It just feels nicer going down into it as opposed to trying to lay it flat at the heel and then draw across. Because, okay, if you're off a little bit when you're doing that, it can kind of throw off the heel.
Facebook group about placing a small boot tray under your Tormek to help.
That's honestly a really good idea. I've currently got my pack out that is becoming very much so water park, so to speak. I mean, there's still water in the trough, but at the same time, it's very much so becoming like a water feature. Sounds good. I probably won't be on too much longer just because I'm finishing up with this knife. I do have one more question that I want to answer that's pretty common on YouTube. Well, my YouTube channel, but at the same time, I'll make sure to talk and say the channels to look out for at the end as well. One more reason I'm very thankful that I have my canopy. I got it on Facebook Marketplace of all things. And especially, like, I drive a 97 Nissan pickup, so it's kind of hard to find some aftermarket stuff, unless you want to pay an arm and a leg. And I love my truck, I don't like paying an arm and a leg. I'm almost wondering if I went too acute with this now. I mean, that's always a thing too, is you can't, like, with, not necessarily cheaper, well, I mean, absolutely cheaper steels as well, but with some steels, if you go too acute, it won't be able to hold the edge, so I might have done that, and I might have to go bump up the edge a few degrees or something along those lines, and it just be lightly thinned out. So I did it at 15 degrees just to see how it cuts and that kind of stuff. Wow, it's really coming down now. But what I might have to do is go back and give a micro bevel and do like a 17 to 20 degree micro bevel edge. So that's the cool thing about, like, also making sure, like, if you ever do a knife sharpening business, or if you're having trouble sharpening a knife, like doing a cut test and just seeing, okay, what it does. Sweet, thanks Chris, I really appreciate that. Warren's a really cool dude.
Their YouTube channel. Inflatable can. Ooh.
Ooh, inflatable canopy. I'm actually kind of curious about. I'll have to do some looking and see. Do you have a name by chance of what brand by chance for those inflatable canopies? Like, I did a tonneau cover for a little while, but